Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on your location. Today we will be talking about some misconceptions about marriage. The first misconception is people think that marriage is a mere human invention. But the truth is, marriage is not a human invention, it is a divine concept. Just as in Genesis chapter 2, verse 18, the Bible said, "And God said, it is not good for the man to be alone. Therefore, he made him a suitable helpmate." So, this underscores the sacredness of marriage and the sacredness and the purpose of marriage, which is togetherness. So, God created marriage for togetherness, and therefore, it is a divine concept. It is not just a human idea, it is not something that human beings just brought about. It is not something that human beings invented or created. It is a divine intervention. It is a divine invention. God is the originator of marriage. He is the one who created marriage because of the purpose of togetherness. The first purpose of marriage is togetherness. And then the second purpose of marriage is for procreation, so that the man and the woman will bring forth godly seed. And the third purpose of marriage is for the man and the woman to come together to fulfill destiny, to be able to fulfill purpose greater than themselves. Because there's a possibility that an individual, here a single person, will be able to fulfill destiny, but when they come together as a husband and wife, they will be able to go far faster and easier. So that does not mean a single person will not fulfill destiny. No, if a single person will definitely fulfill destiny, because not all of us are going to get married, and not all of us want to get married, and it is okay for you not to want to get married, and it is okay for you to get married. There is nothing wrong with you if you are not married. It does not mean that something is wrong with you, and it does not mean that you won't be able to fulfill destiny. No, you will be able to fulfill destiny with the help of God. And even when you get married, you will still be able to fulfill destiny. So it is easier and faster when both of you are working together as a husband and wife to be able to fulfill destiny. So the second misconception that few people have about marriage is they think that their marriage will be successful, or they can have a successful marriage without any effort or without their full commitment. Marriage is not a passive journey. It is actually an active journey. It is an active endeavor. It is about you giving your 100%. It is about you giving your all. Only your all is accepted in marriage. In divorce, you can do 50-50, but in marriage, it is 100%. You have to give in your determination, your energy, your time, your resilience, your prayer, your love. You have to give it 100% for it to succeed. And also, your marriage is your business. Nobody will do it for you. You can't expect your mother or your father or your siblings or even God to do it for you. That is why in your marriage, you're supposed to work with your spouse to be able to fulfill destiny. You're supposed to work with your spouse for the growth of your marriage. A third party can come in when there's a problem, or when you people are going through situations or challenges that you need help. But the working together is meant to be between the husband and the wife, not you and your siblings or your parents or someone else. So you're supposed to work together with your spouse, and you're supposed to work together with God to be able to make your marriage work. So it is your full commitment that is acceptable in marriage. You have to give it your all. It is your business. You are the CEO, the director, the manager, and everything in your marriage. You have to give it your all. The key to a successful marriage is whoever is teachable can actually have a successful marriage. So it's not just about you learning from maybe the Bible or from your religious perspective, but it is you learning from your spouse. That is why you need to submit to each other, and also you need to learn from other people's successes. You need to learn also from other people's failures, and also you have to be intentional. You have to be consistent, and also you can learn and master the systems that govern marital bliss when you work together with your spouse. the concept of marriage is togetherness. It always boils down to togetherness. You have to work together because you cannot journey alone and tell people that you are married. If you're working together with your spouse, that is called marriage. But if you're all on your own and everybody is going the different direction, it is actually not marriage. Maybe it's something else, but not marriage. And also, when you see others um, thriving, and then you wonder what exactly is making their marriage work. When you see them thriving in their relationship, sometimes you wonder, oh, I think maybe one of them is maybe doing the work and the other person is not doing the work. But what they maybe sometimes forget to tell you is that marriage takes selflessness to work. It actually takes selflessness for marriage to work. It gives you, you have to give it your all, you have to give it your attention. Like I mentioned earlier, sometimes people don't reveal to you what exactly makes their marriage work. It is everything. It is everything that you possess. You have to give it your all. It is about giving in your 100%, not 50%, or not even 50-50. You cannot meet halfway as far as marriage is concerned. And the third misconception is people think, or some people assume that a man and a woman, or a husband and a wife, must have the same interest, must have the same hobbies, and must behave in the same way. It is not always the case. As long as your values are able to align and you're able to work together, you don't have to have the same interest. You don't have to have the same hobbies. You can have different hobbies and your marriage can work. You can have the same different likes or different interest and your marriage can work. For example, we all go to, maybe it's possible that you and your husband went to this different universities and you studied different courses. So that does not mean that, okay, you people will have to, you have to get married to somebody who studied the same course with you and you have to be working in the same place, or you have to have the same interest, you have to like the same thing that he likes. You can support each other's interest, you can support each other's hobbies, but you don't have to have the same interest or the same hobbies. But there is nothing wrong in you having the same hobby or hobbies or the same interest. You can have the same interest, the same likes, but that shouldn't be a deal breaker for you if somebody does not have the same interest or the same likes with you. The differences in your hobbies or your interest should actually cement your relationship. It should be able to push your relationship forward. You should be able to complement each other with your likes, with your different likes, with your different hobbies, but that shouldn't be a deal breaker for you if you're trying to get married and somebody does not have the same interest with you or your hobbies. That shouldn't make you not to marry that person. So your personality traits might actually be different also, and that shouldn't break make or that shouldn't mar your relationship. It should actually, you should complement each other and use your differences to grow your relationship. Also, people think that the fourth misconception is that marriage will change a person. I hear people say, oh, let him get married or let her get married. When they get married or when she gets or he gets married, that they are going to become responsible. Marriage does not suddenly confer responsibility on an irresponsible person. Marriage itself is a responsibility, and it is crucial for you to understand that you cannot just get married to somebody with a shady character and expect him or her to suddenly become a saint in marriage. Marriage amplifies people's character. Do not ignore red flags before marriage. Sorry for people who get married and they did not really see some of those traits or some of those behaviors before marriage, and now it is showing up. That is a different thing entirely, but not when you were dating the person. You saw all the red flags, or you are seeing all the red flags, and you still go ahead and get married. You are not the Holy Spirit. You cannot change people. You cannot just suddenly want to conform people to your image. If you know there's something wrong with a person before you get married, address it and see it if it is something that can be worked upon or if it is something that can change before the marriage. But don't just ignore red flags before you get married. Do not give yourself headache or even heartache because you want to suddenly be the Holy Spirit and work on other people. People that are not teachable will never change no matter what you do. Sometimes you're even like self-sabotaging even when you're praying for them. Sometimes they don't even want to change. They tell you there's nothing wrong with me. You accept me the way I am. You saw me before I this is who I am. You saw the way I was before we got married, and now you want me to change. People don't suddenly wake up and start changing. It is possible that some people change in the process of you working with them or them accepting the fact that they need to change. So they have to accept the fact that they really need to change or there is something wrong with their character. If somebody does not realize that there is something wrong with him or her, that person will never change, no matter the amount of prayer. If they do not see anything wrong with them, they won't change. So it is actually like an effort in futility, you trying to change them when they see nothing wrong in their behavior. So, yes, people change, but it is highly unlikely. People change in marriage, but it is actually like you pushing and trying, nagging, and the stress is just too much. So, do not ignore some red flags if you see them before getting married. You are not the Holy Spirit. And also, another red flag is another misconception is people believe that love is a feeling. Love is not a feeling, love is a commitment, and love is a command. We've been commanded to love our neighbors as ourselves and also to love our enemies. So, whichever way, your husband is or your wife is not really is not your enemy, but they are your neighbors or they are your spouse. So you either love your enemy or you love your neighbor, but whichever way, there's a command for you to love somebody. So love is not a feeling. Love is a commitment. Love is a command even. So you've been commanded to love your spouse. How do you love your spouse? By the way you treat them. How do you know somebody loves you? By the way they treat you. By the way they serve you. By the way you serve each other. It proves that you love one another. So you putting your spouse's needs ahead of yours shows that you love them. The way you treat them, the way you make decisions that will not sabotage your relationship shows that you love your husband or your wife. The way you include them in your decision making shows that you love them. But the way you value their input, the way you value their decisions, the way you respect them shows that you love them. The way that you think about your actions first before committing to them or before you go ahead and do things, it shows that you love your spouse. So you show that you love your spouse, your husband or your wife by the way you treat them, by the way you even treat yourself. And also, you going out of your way to serve your spouse shows that you love them. Another misconception is that people believe that marriage is the end game and that they do not need to do anything about their goals, their aspirations, their dreams, or their personality or their growth because they are married. Like we call it settle down. I want to settle down. Yeah, you're settled, yeah, you settle down, but it does not mean that when you get married you're really settled down. It does not mean that you become complacent about your life, complacent about your relationship, and keep saying, "Oh, this is who I am." This is not who you are. You can actually improve. You can actually change. There's a need for improvement. There's a need for you to grow daily in your relationship. That is why you need to always sit down and evaluate your relationship. Sit down with your spouse every day or every week. You can decide to have a meeting like every week, every month, or quarterly to talk about your relationship. How far is the journey? How is the journey going? Are you people making progress or you're just stagnated? You need to evaluate, you need to reflect on the journey, and you need to get feedback from each other. And you need to grow on yourself, you need to grow on your relationship, you grow on your commitment, you grow on your communication, and you grow on in every aspect of the relationship. You cannot just keep treating your spouse the way you want, but you have to love them the way they would want to be treated. You have to treat them the way they would want to be treated, and then you have to ask questions. Every day you understand how your spouse is feeling, and you'll be able to grow your relationship without you assuming that things are going right when they are not going right. So marriage is not just the end game. It is actually a journey. each day, each moment, you need to keep growing with your spouse. You need to understand that there's a journey ahead. We cannot just remain the way we are, and then we need to, and that is why we need to grow. Thank you for taking our time to listen to this. Remain blessed.